Lionel Nelson here, and welcome to A Father's Note, promoting fathers through building men. It's so important that we always stand up for our fathers. We want you to know we're with you. We're standing behind you 110%. And so tell us, man, what has been your greatest joy as being a father?
It's just seeing just that my whole thing, I always wanted kids, and when I was younger or whatever, growing up, I always wanted to have a family. But that whole process of the pregnancy and then seeing the baby grow, and then once they're born and then you see them, they look like you, but then they have some features of the wife.
Right.
And it's just a beautiful thing, just seeing God's creation at work. Seeing that it's a mix of two different people, kind of put together, but they're their own individual.
Right.
Like, in my case, I had twins, and even though they both came from the same parents, they were both born at the same time, but they're from two different people. And then the same thing with the girls. I can already see the girls' difference. One is a fighter. She's like, a fighter, slapping and carrying on.
So who does she take that after?
Aggressive. She's aggressive, I would say.
Who does she take the aggressiveness out?
Depends who you ask. I plead the fifth. And the same thing with the boys.
Give us their name.
Seeing that uniqueness is, seeing God's work. And, no matter how many kids you can have, a million kids with somebody, with that one person, they'll all be different, but they'll all represent a piece of you and a piece of her.
Oh, that's great.
That just reflects, what God did for us. That, we're God's creation. So it kind of gives us that same feeling, that same love and joy.
That's good. Give us the children's name.
The boys. The boys and girls. The first boy is Elijah, and the other one is Josiah, and then the girls are Aria and Aaliyah.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
All right. So then, since you have 4 and they twins, okay, and as we can see according to the pictures, they're right there together. So I don't know, but what has been your greatest challenge? Yeah. What's your greatest challenge as a father?
So far, the greatest challenge is just trying to balance everything.
Oh, that's great.
Balance. You have to find that balance in life. You can't go too much one way or the other. You have to, you have to provide for your family. So I have to work, and then work overtime or work at home. Fixing things in the house. Taking care of things that that the man has to take care of. Mm-hmm. And then also trying to find that time that you don't want to work too much, because you have to be home. Raising your kids. Being. Just my work experience is seeing that, sometimes even though the father may be home, they're not present,
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have that presence there. It's not just like, good morning and good night. It has to be that day-to-day interaction with them.
Got to engage with them, right?
Yep. Go down to their level, and then also bring them up to your level at the same time. Okay. Just finding that balance, and finding that balance also with the family, with the wife as well, trying to balance time with her, your personal life, whatever it may be.
Right. So does each child get their own individual me time?
I try my best, but that's nearly impossible. So it's usually, and also because they love spending time with each other. They all, I'm blessed that they all get along, and they're all, healthy. They all love each other, and that's what I try to do. I try to teach, like when I first only had the boys, I try to, practice playing with them. And when they try to wrestle with me, the only way I let them win is when they both double team me. Like I'll be the one, like, you can't beat me by yourself. And then I try to get the other one to try to teach him that the only way you can overcome something is, working together. So I try to make them have that bond.
So it's obvious then, even though I would say that you can, depending on how you look at it, have a very demanding, stressful job, but yet though you, and I'm not, just help me out with this here, you strive to make sure that you give your quality time to your family regardless of what you deal with on a day-to-day basis. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you have to also balance that emotional part of it, because the emotional part of being a police officer and then not wanting to bring home that stress and that anger home to the kids and to the wife, and it's important that you have to separate the two, and that's where a lot of law enforcement have a problem with that balance, and That's where trouble arises.
So what do you do whenever you do get home and you still feel the presence of work and you know that you don't want to take that inside your home? So what do you do in order to digress from that?
A good part of it is just having that self-awareness. Some people may have a stressful event at work, and then you may not want to think about it, and you just want to put it off to the side. Like you see a child that was assaulted by their own family member or something like that, or a domestic violence incident or something, or a murder or a death. You may want to just put that in the back of your mind and you store it away and you just don't think about it and you think it's gone. But in reality, it's still there. It's still there. So if you have to have the presence of mind to think about it and also talk about it too. Find somebody to talk to, whether it's your wife, a brother, somebody that you can talk to about that incident. Break it down. That you just don't keep it to yourself. Just keeping it inward. It just builds up. It builds up that fear, that anger, that it kind of manifests into something else sometimes.
Okay. So does what you experience as an officer, those things that you see, you witness, does that play a big part in your relationship that you strive to have with your children, with your wife, with your family as a whole?
Yeah. In policing, you see a lot of gruesome things and evil things, and kind of like question. You may question like humanity itself, and because it's not like one of the sayings in policing is that police don't deal with like normal day-to-day things like most people in other jobs. People say police have a difficult job, but it's not just the danger of the job itself. It's that we go and we deal with people when they're the saddest, the maddest, and the baddest. So every call, you're dealing, whether it may not be a crime, it may be a dispute between neighbors, a dispute with family, child abuse, just where people are angry, sad, and mad, and that kind of builds up, and you have to just kind of understand that. So as far as with the children, you just have to be aware of it, having that self-awareness, and not try to pass it on.
So how much of a change though did you have to take or to make, shall I say, especially, okay, so you was a police officer before you became a father.
Right.
So when the children came along, I'm absolutely certain that at the beginning you may not have had it all right.
Right.
Over time had to learn how to, I can't take my job frustrations and experiences, whatever, and bring that home to my wife or bring that home to my children, correct?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You have to be one of the good things is, my wife and I have a good relationship, so she knows about what goes on at work. So if I have a stressful thing, I can talk to her about it. So if she ever sees that maybe, if I'm frustrated about something, she would be aware that, it's not her fault or the kid's fault or something like that, maybe something at work, and, being aware of that. So
she also worked at the same police department when you started out policing, correct? Right.
So she's the work crime scene, and she was a dispatcher as well at where I used to work. So she has that understanding of policing and understands the job. So she understands the stresses and what comes with it.
I guess you could say that's a check in your favor, huh?
Yeah, and that's why a lot of law enforcement, they end up marrying somebody in law enforcement or somebody in nursing because, or in those things.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. Okay, so these are your challenges, your experiences. So what would you say the percentage is of most police officers that is in that line of most police officers who are fathers that experience what you experience? What is that percentage?
As far as stress and dealing with the home management,
right?
100%. We all deal with it in some way. If you're an officer, it's gonna affect your personal life, and you have to understand how is it gonna affect it. It usually happens like in the beginning, your rookie year. You have your friends from the past. You have your, let's say, high school friends or college friends, and then you become an officer. Then maybe sometimes those people don't understand policing, or maybe they might be into different things that, you know, that may get you into trouble or whatever the case may be. But it's just human nature that you congregate around the people that you work with, and because they have understanding of the job. It's kind of hard to explain policing to somebody who isn't in the job. It's kind of like, you know, when you watch something on the news, if you see something gruesome on the news, hearing about a terrible accident is one thing, but when you're actually there and you see the person and you're there, and then the family comes on scene, and you have to deal with separate, you know, trying to keep the family back, but then, you know, giving them the information, and then maybe dealing with different things like that is just usually the best people that can understand it are the people that you work with, and that's why you have that brotherly, that brother and blue bond that you have.
Right. So it's almost like, I'm just making this up, but it just sounds like you guys have to put on your superhero costume every time you go to work, and then you take it off when you get home.
But you know, sometimes taking it off is not that easy.